Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for our latest installment of the Digital Download series. Today we will be discussing design trends of the moment and ways your hotel can implement these creative concepts into your own digital strategy. Today we will be discussing why design is important, how to begin a redesign if your hotel needs one, the top 6 best design trends of the moment, and to wrap it up, we'll have a Q&A with our senior web designer, Elisa Yee. Joining us today, we have myself, Margaret Mastro-Giacomo, Vice President of Strategy, Elisa Yee, Senior Web Designer, and Jordan Jones, Senior Account Executive.
So let's kick things off and pose the question, what is so important about design? Having a pleasing aesthetic online presence as well as a website strategically designed to facilitate hotel bookings is extremely important. Not only does a hotel website tell the story of your brand and make it come to life, but a well thought out and designed website can help to lower bounce rate, increase conversions, and improve the overall user experience. If a hotelier's website is visually outdated, underperforming, or not up to industry standards or best practices, it is likely time for a website redesign. So where would you begin? A great place to start putting your new website vision together is by creating mood boards. Gather inspiration from other websites, images, and materials you encounter to guide you through the design process and to help you shape your website vision. Next, you'll need to identify the hotel's key customer personas in order to target your design to your ideal customer. Define their actions and online behaviors to tailor the website experience to users that are the most valuable to your hotel. You will also need a strong content strategy during the redesign process, which incorporates upper funnel, middle funnel, and lower funnel content to nurture potential guests and help guide them through their path to booking. Now I'll let Elisa take it away and discuss the current industry website design trends of today.
Thanks, Jordan. One of the most popular design trends currently are websites with movement and animation. Movement can be added in subtle ways by adding animation on hovers and icons. Hotel websites can utilize animations in many different ways. Take it up a notch with GIF images or moving background images. While flat design still plays a role in clean and modern design trends, perfect for fully responsive design across devices, with the rise of augmented reality and better graphic displays, the drop shadow is back, but this time with a different look in mind. Providing extra depth and a 3D look to specific elements on your hotel website makes them stand out, as if you could reach out and touch them. Some elements you could incorporate to your website would be to give a 3D view to your site, or some vivid images of your dishes that you have in the restaurant, and other standout elements such as the environment around palm trees, beaches.
Yeah, Lisa, and I think that in this example you can see here how it looks like almost a bird's eye view of lush forest.
Right.
So you could take that same effect and apply it to palm trees if you're a tropical resort and so on and so forth, exactly. And you can see this really makes it stand out. Yeah, perfect.
Everything old is new again. Websites are no exception. With the return of 90s inspiration in geometric shapes and elements, websites are taking on a bold new look. Sharp angles can help guide the user's eye directly to your booking engine, and old school elements can give your website a fresh new look. I'll let Margaret take the lead on our final two trends.
Sure. Thanks, Elisa. Another trend we've been seeing more and more of are broken grid layouts. Using broken grid layouts, you can create an interesting and seamless user experience for anyone who visits your site. By now, it's a widely acknowledged fact that most familiar aesthetic of modern web design is an aesthetic of minimalism. And recently, though, brutalism is gaining more and more prominence. So what exactly is that? Brutalism in the world of design can be defined as freestyle and raw. Many times brutalism takes notes from the early days of the internet. So as you can see in this example, it has emoticons, it uses many colors, there's no white space, and it can feel like the early 2000s as far as web design goes. And overall, we don't really feel that brutalism has a place in lifestyle luxury hotel design, at least as far as using icons or looking like the early 2000s web. But where it can play a role is embracing the opposite of minimalism. So you can see in this Blackstone Chicago hotel design that there's not a lot of white space. You can see the use of bold fonts. We have drop shadows utilized here. And while there is no minimalism embraced, it still has a great user experience and it still has a really bold lifestyle luxury feel that speaks to that lifestyle luxury segment. Another trend is responsive logos, and issues with logo sizes being large enough to read and small enough to not take up too much space has been a topic in the industry lately. Major brands are relying on strong brand recognition with simplified versions of their logos and a responsive nature. So as you can see here, looking at Coca-Cola, Chanel, and Nike as examples, as the screen gets smaller, the logo actually gets reduced as far as what's included in the design. So it can minimize to removing the bottom Coke call out, to a smaller version of the Coca-Cola logo, to, as you see in the other examples, it can turn into just a simple icon. And it's important to note that with Google's many logo variations, they have the ability to be recognized no matter what the platform. And hotels can use responsive logo versions on tablet and mobile page sizes to make room for all of the important information that needs to be included on smaller screens. So now we're going to move into the Q&A portion of our webinar, and today's questions are going to be with Elisa Yee, who was the senior web designer presenting earlier in the webinar. So kicking it off, one of the first questions that we get a lot in general when we're in brainstorms and creative collaboration is, what is your personal favorite design trend right now? We covered a lot earlier in the presentation, and which one are you really embracing in your design?
Yeah, my favorite one would definitely be the broken grid layouts.
Okay.
Especially because it's relatively new and there's just so many new ways to like experiment with it. I do think it works really well when you combine that broken grid layout with subtle animations and big bold typography. Although I would say this doesn't always work for every client that we have, but I do think there's ways to use it while still being very seamless and really elegant looking.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's a great design trend for edgier lifestyle brands. I think it can really make their brand come to life on the web. Yeah. So next question, what do you think influences design trends to continuously change? It's my experience and our experience as we're driving innovation and strategy. It can be really hard to keep up. So what do you think is influencing all of these design trends and why they're continuously changing so often?
Yeah, I think there's two main reasons, and one would be like the changes in our environment, especially with changes in culture and media, the way we interact and communicate with each other changes, and I think design reflects that as well. You want more user interaction, you want information to be presented in a very clear way, and that's why we come up with so many different kinds of methods and displays for that. I think secondly would be the technology and how fast it's advancing, and I think with that comes more tools and more possibilities to create what you want to create that wasn't available before. Like I think with browser improvement and like better screen displays, we can show these like vivid colors and all these effects without lags that we have before.
Yeah, the other thing that's really interesting to me is that some of the design trends are cyclical. So when we were talking about brutalism earlier, it was really an ode to the early 2000s
Right.
web and how that's really making an impact and is really feeling edgy for younger brands. So I forget what website it was, but I was buying a gift for my niece and she loves Forever 21. And I went to the Forever 21 website and it is early 90s, like neon all the way. So it's really interesting how some of these design trends are evolving with our technology because that's a new experience. And then some of the design trends are really cyclical and embracing look and feel of earlier years.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what is the strategy you use to bridge general design trends into the hotel digital marketing space? Because it is a really unique space. And I think you can't just simply translate these design trends as is. You really have to shape it to the space. So how do you do that? What is your strategy?
Exactly. So not all trends will work, but my main strategy would be to find what kind of experience like the hotel is trying to convey and sell.
Yeah.
So if it's a more tropical area resort, then I can take influence with the vivid and bright gradients with some, bold typography in it. Whereas a more traditional site with, business travelers or urban in an urban setting would have a more serious and classic feel to it.
And following those classic design trends.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that makes perfect sense. Do you have any predictions for upcoming design trends to look out for in the next few years?
I personally think that the broken grid layout will continue to evolve, and I think it's mainly right now in a lot of like fashion sites, but I do think it'll like translate into other industries. I'm not totally sure how they'll look like because I think the layouts are so different with each site. But I can definitely see that happening. It's just, I think people are more bold to not stick with the more traditional rule of having this image fitting in one box, but just having all sorts of information on different sections of the page.
And from my perspective, I think websites will become more and more sensory. So we already have more multimedia, such as video, 360 tours. I think it's only a matter of time where VR starts playing a really big role. And especially in our space, that's really exciting. So just imagine having a VR experience of a hotel, what it's like what the views look like, what it's like to step into the lobby. And I think overall, that's just where technology is going. And I think it's only a matter of time before that's reflected in design trends and development. Yeah. So that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching this installment of the Next Guest Digital Download series. And stay tuned for more upcoming series.